enjoy lying, being fake, deceiving your friends and family, well then these are the games for you. What's happening, guys? Welcome back to Table Talk. I'm Andrew, and today we are talking about games that involve all of those things. I'm talking betrayals, blindsides, alliances. And I'm not talking about Survivor, I'm talking about social deduction games. These are any games that involve some type of hidden role where you have an identity no one else knows. There's probably a good and a bad team, maybe a neutral team, and people are going to have special powers. And through vote-offs and actions, you are going to determine which team wins. I love these games because they can be played with very large groups, but they have more depth and strategy than a party game. But still, they are very, very interactive and also a lot of times very easy to get to the table and to teach. This is my top 10 social deduction or hidden role games. Starting with my number 10. My number 10 being based on a property that is seemingly everywhere. And that is Marvel. But who doesn't love Marvel? And imagine being Captain America and lying your face off to the Incredible Hulk. And that is this game. It is a game called Hail Hydra, where each of you are a superhero with a power, and you are collectively trying to defeat these super villains. The twist is some of you are working for Hydra. So you are subtly trying to make the group do not as well and maybe contribute not as much. Almost like a terrible group project on purpose. And that is the fun of this game. It's not the most original. It borrows a lot from other social deduction games, but is a really fun theme. That is the Marvel social deduction game, my number 10, Hail Hydra. My number 9 game is based on a game we all played as kids. 20 questions. And some of us, we're terrible at that game. But in this game, I enjoyed a lot more because it tosses a completely idiotic theme on top of it. Because for whatever reason, werewolves have conquered a village, and the solution is to find a magical word that only the mayor of this village knows. But despite that idiotic theme, it is a lot of fun because it takes the roles and betrayal and lying of werewolf and tosses it into 20 questions. So one of you is the mayor that knows this word, and everyone else will be asking yes or no questions to try to guess the magic word. The negative is some of you are werewolves trying to get them to not guess it, and some of you maybe have powers that are helping you to help the village towards guessing it. So it is a lot of fun because it uses an app, no need for a moderator, and it is a really good game if your group doesn't know each other as well. A lot of social deduction games are sometimes only as good as the group is. So this is a really easy game to play if people don't know each other as well, because it really just comes down to asking yes or no questions. It's a lot of fun, great app and production. Werewords by Bezier Games, my number 9. My number 8 is a classic game in the social deduction genre. It was one of the first to come out after the classics Mafia and Werewolf and slapped a Wild West theme on it. In Bang, yes, that's the name of this game. And yes, if you play this as a teenager with teenagers, jokes will be made. But it is a great game. It is this Wild West social deduction game. Some of you are sheriffs and deputies. Some of you are outlaws gunning for the sheriff. And some of you are renegades working on your own. And what is fun about this game is it adds a lot of depth and strategy by allowing you to do actions based on the cards you have. So instead of just voting, you can shoot other people, you can jump on horses, hide behind barrels, lie and steal and cheat. And that sounds like a blast, and it is. The only negative is because of all those card actions, it can take a little longer. And this is a game where you can get eliminated. So I would especially advise you not to get the expansions like I did, unless you're really into it, like I was. It can also add even more time to those things. I sadly loved this game so much that I got all the expansions in a gigantic metal bullet that I then tried to take through an airport. And TSA was not happy. But besides that, it is a great and really fun game. If you want it to be a little quicker, you can also play a version called Bang the Dice Game. I use this a lot with the students I work with because it's much quicker, 10 or 15 minutes. So if you get eliminated in this version, it's not as big of a deal. Plus, it adds a little more chaos and luck by, instead of having you play cards to do your actions, you just roll dice like Yahtzee. So you lose a little bit of that strategy and depth, admittedly, but it's a lot quicker and a little more chaotic. That is Bang and Bang the Dice Game, my number 8. My number 7 is the OG, the classic of the social deduction genre, and that is Ultimate Werewolf. Now, Werewolf or Mafia, whatever you called it, we all grew up playing with maybe a deck of playing cards. There was a killer, there was a doctor, there was some sort of detective or sheriff. Well, Ultimate Werewolf is the definitive version of that game by adding really great production and a lot of other roles in a really cool package by Bezier Games. It also comes with tips and starter guides, and it offers combinations for you to try of different roles. And if you're going to get a Werewolf or Mafia game, this is the one to do it. If you're trying to go absolutely nuts, they just released, I think, Ultimate Werewolf Extreme Edition, which somehow incorporates QR codes, translucent cards, an app, and even face scans to help the moderator out, which kind of seems like overkill, but hey, if you love Werewolf, go for it. And this is a classic game for a reason. Most of you are probably familiar, but it comes down to at night, a killer will kill, maybe people do other things, and in the morning, you vote for someone to hang. Negative of this game is, yeah, 1 or 2 people usually get out about every round, and there's not much to do once you're out. But it is a classic for a reason. It's very casual. If people get out, they can just watch the game and hang out or get up and move because there's not a ton of rules. It's a classic for a reason. My number 7, the definitive edition of it, Ultimate Werewolf by Bezier Games. My number 6 is one of the most unique social deduction games in that it takes a love of CSI and crime solving and murder mysteries and incorporates it into that social deduction genre, and that is Deception, Murder in Hong Kong. In this game, one of you is a forensic scientist trying to get the rest of the CSI operatives to figure out a murder case. Problem is, the forensic scientists can't talk. All they can do is place tokens to indicate the different evidence at the crime scene. So, it is up to all you guys to debate who is the killer with what weapon and the evidence. The twist, one of you is the killer. And so what's fun about this game is even round 1, you already have evidence to go on. It's not just random accusations because Brendan looks sketchy. You actually have cold, hard evidence of who it could be. Plus, you can throw in an accomplice or a witness and a couple other roles that has really, really good expansion. And it's a lot of fun, too, because each round, each person gets a set amount of time uninterrupted to make their case. So it really helps out maybe shy players, too, that sometimes are afraid of getting talked over because they get a full time to explain themselves. Great game, really interesting twist on the genre. That is my number 6, Deception, Murder in Hong Kong. My number 5 game has another massive twist in that it all goes down in your sleep. There is nothing more boring than hearing someone talk about their dreams, but there is almost no game as fun trying to decide what people's dreams were than When I Dream. In this game, each round, one of you will have a comically oversized sleep mask and be dreaming. The rest of you will be boogeymen, fairies, and Sandman, trying to get them to figure out what their dreams were by giving one-word clues. Boogeymen are trying to get them to not guess the word, fairies are trying to get them to guess the word, and Sandman want an even split. But what's fun about this game is your role changes each and every single round. Everyone gets a chance to be the dreamer, And it is very interesting, the dynamic of the clues, because as a boogeyman, you can't be over the top obvious that you're giving bad clues, while the Sandman has to balance them wanting to get the clues and also not wanting them to. It is a really fun game, and like Werewolf, a really good social deduction game for a new group, because it ultimately comes down to one word: clues. A great and interesting and very affordable game with excellent abstract artwork. That is my number 5, When I Dream. My number 4 game is from a company you've probably heard of before in this list that seems to love any game involving the word were. The people behind Werewords, Ultimate Werewolf, Extreme Edition, and this version of the game, in my opinion, the best, One Night Ultimate Werewolf. It takes the idea of Ultimate Werewolf and simply makes it all take place in one night. It's really cool too because it has this app, so you don't need a moderator that tells everyone exactly what to do, so you don't really have to teach many rules. Plus, it's voiced by a guy at the Dice Tower named Eric Summer, which is just cool trivia. If you know what the Dice Tower is, it's pretty much the Netflix of board game YouTube channels, whereas I am an amateur filmmaker trying to make it happen. But in One Night Ultimate Werewolf, voiced by the Eric Summerer, you are doing all of your roles and powers the same night, and it is absolute chaos, and then you have only one day and a set amount of time to figure out at least one werewolf. It's really fun, and it's very simple, easy to teach, and really quick too. You can get around in just one night and immediately hop into another one. So if you maybe mess up, you can make it back next round. That is a very quick, very awesome social deduction game. One Night Ultimate Werewolf. My number 3 is the newest game on this list and probably the most underrated. It is a game that was created by a guy that played social deduction games and said, what do I not like about this? And made a game because of that. It is a blast, and it is called Night of the Ninja. You are ninjas as a member of 2 rival houses and possibly a Ronin renegade in the middle, battling for dominance. And simply your goal is just to have the highest ranking members of your house survive. What's cool about that is you get to pick the actions or powers that you have each and every single round. Do you want to kill people? Take those cards. Do you not want to just blindly make accusations but have information? Then take those types of cards, and it kind of determines your play style, and you can switch it up each and every time. The other fun thing is there are trickster cards that just cause absolute chaos. You might have a plan going in, and it might be flipped on its head. Plus, in this game, if you have a bad round, maybe you let your roll slip, immediately after that round, a new round will start, and you all get new identities and new powers. So it is really snappy, really quick, a lot of fun, and you can constantly have different play styles and powers. That is my number 3, Night of the Ninja. My number 2 is a very popular social deduction game with a very controversial name, that is Secret Hitler. Very interesting setting. It is pre-Nazi World War II Germany, where the liberal government is trying to keep the fascists and Hitler from taking over. But it is a very, very well-designed game despite the seemingly controversial name. In this game, you are able to execute actions by being a member of the government, which each round is a president that rotates and a elected chancellor. You vote on the government and they pass a policy, either liberal or fascist, good or bad. The key that really makes this game, though, is there are more evil or fascist policies than good liberal policies. So it immediately gives the evil people a built-in lie of, well, I only got bad policies, and sometimes can screw over very, very obvious good players into seeming a little sketchy. Plus, what's cool is a lot of times the evil team will win not by accomplishing a certain number of evil policies before the good team accomplishes their number of policies, but the evil team can win at a certain point in the game if Hitler just gets elected chancellor. And so it is a unique twist because as the game goes on, you're suddenly second-guessing if the person that is very obviously good is maybe just Hitler really trying to blend in. Plus, my students love it because you get to defiantly claim people are liberals or fascists, but despite that crazy theme, it is a great, great social deduction game. My number 2, Secret Hitler. Before I reveal my number 1, I want to give a few honorable mentions. Those honorable mentions are leaders of Euphoria, similar to Good Cop, Bad Cop with giant toy guns, set in a post-apocalyptic utopia. Another one is Mayday Mayday, a really fun but kind of long social deduction game involving flight attendants trying to save a plane. And my other one is going to go to an upcoming game that has not been released, but I have been dying to play, called Blood on the Clock Tower, which seems to be the most involved and incredible social deduction game ever made, where everyone has a power. The moderator is actually a storyteller that can influence the game, and ghosts stay in the game and can still influence. It seems like an incredible game, and I'm really looking forward to it, but it's been delayed for 2 years. And also, before I mention my number 1, I don't have a Patreon or sponsorship, probably never will, but if you want to donate and give money to something, Big Brother Big Sister is an awesome organization, so I put a link in the description below if you want to check them out. They offer mentoring to kids that need it, which I think is super important. Finally, I said last video that I would incorporate your guys' comments of your picks of games that replace classic games in the next video. And one comment that did, which I'm super grateful for, mentioned that Unfathomable replaces Battlestar Galactica, which are 2 games I've really wanted to play, and Unfathomable replaces it. I'll just go for that. It seems to be a little quicker, better production, and updated rules with not as weird of a theme as Battlestar Galactica, which, to be honest, I've never watched. So I'm excited for that. Thank you guys for the comments. And now for my number 1 pick. My number 1 game is probably the definitive modern social deduction game, and that is The Resistance, or the version I have, The Resistance Avalon. The only difference between the 2 games is whether you want a spy theme of people taking down the government, or loyal knights of King Arthur trying to defeat the evil minions of Mordred in medieval Camelot, with Avalon having some extra roles that the Resistance only had in their numerous expansions. So really, you can pick whichever one you want. But these games take what's incredible about social deduction, take out all the fluff, and get to the core of what makes these types of games great. It is simply, each round, you voting on a team to go on a quest or mission, it passing or failing, and then that team going on the mission, and it either passing or failing. That's really it. I like Avalon because you can throw in other roles without the expansions of the Resistance, like a good character that knows all the bad characters, maybe a bad character that's out of the loop, or an evil character that seems good to some of the good players. And those roles really spice it up, especially if you play with people that have played a lot. But this game is just incredible because there's not a ton to it, but it makes for amazing moments in gameplay. If you just want social deduction and that's it, you can't get much better than The Resistance or The Resistance Avalon. Thank you guys so much for watching. I would love if you would comment your picks for top social deduction games, and I'll incorporate those in the next video. I'll catch you guys